60 Rare Authentic American Photos of World War II. You must see Part 4.
Subscribe for daily content. Support this channel so it can grow.
Only a small percentage of people that watch my videos are actually subscribed. If you feel like supporting me more, join my Patreon.
1. First Lieutenant Donald E. Mittelstedt of Missoula, Montana, is officer in charge of a combat assignment photo unit of the 161st Signal Photo Company on New Britain. The 20th of June 1944. 2. Marines pose with a Japanese flag they captured on Saipan. The 20th of July 1944. 3. P-38 on a pontoon built on a pair of DUKW amphibious trucks. 4. GIs from the 79th Infantry Division fighting in bocage terrain south of the Cotentin Peninsula in mid-July 1944. 5. Members of the Women's Army Corps, WAC, pose at Camp Shanks, New York, before leaving from New York port of embarkation on February 2, 1945. The women are with the first contingent of Black American WACs to go overseas for the war effort. 6. Howard P. Perry, the first African American to enlist in the United States Marines Corps on the 1st of June 1942. 7. Marines take cover behind AM-4 Sherman tank while clearing Japanese forces from the northern end of the island of Saipan. July 8, 1944. 8. Normandy, France, June 1944. Smoke 'em if you got 'em. Troops of the 501st Airborne Infantry Regiment, 501st Air, 101st Airborne Division after the Battle of Corentin. 9. Flight leader and fighter ace Robert R.T. Smith stands next to his P-40 fighter at Kunming, China. The Flying Tiger insignia was created by the Walt Disney Company. 10. USAAF pilots of a training unit in Louisiana, USA, in front of a North American P-51A Mustang fighter in 1943. 11. B-26 Marauder of the 555th Bomb Squadron, 386th Bombardment Group returning to England after a raid on the continent. 12. 2 Marine mechanics relax on the wings of AF-4U-1 Corsair of VMF 222 on Bougainville, April 1944. 13. Actresses Marlene Dietrich, L., and Rita Hayworth, R., serving coffee at the Hollywood Canteen, the 17th of November 1942. While the majority of visitors were U.S. servicemen, the canteen was open to servicemen of Allied countries. The ticket for admission was a uniform and everything at the canteen was free. 14. U.S. Marine watches as Japanese forces are shelled near Mount Suribachi, where the U.S. flag was famously risen, on Iwo Jima, 1945. 15. Pilots of 1st Air Commando Group Burma. 16. Launching of USS Midway, CVB-41, at the Newport News Shipbuilding and Dry Dock Company, Newport News, Virginia. The 20th of March 1945. 17. 7 Grumman TBM-3D Avenger bombers of Night Torpedo Squadron VT, N-90 flying in formation in January 1945. The squadron was part of Night Air Group 90 on the carrier USS Enterprise, CV-6. Note radar pods in right side wings, and the distinctive tail insignia. 18. U.S. Navy Grumman TBM-3 Avengers and Curtiss SB-2C Helldivers assigned to Carrier Air Group 83, CVG-83, aboard the aircraft carrier USS Essex, CV-9, dropping bombs on Hakodate, Japan, in July 1945. 19. Sergeant Jack B. Wilhelm, China Grove, NC cleans his rifle in front of a dugout near Loen, Germany. Inside is Corporal William R. Culp, Pineville, NC. Both are riflemen of the 120th Infantry Regiment, 30th Infantry Division. 20. A soldier with a flamethrower attacks an enemy position while riflemen cover his advance. Bougainville, April 1944. 21. U.S. Marine on Bougainville, Solomon Islands 1943. Photo by Bill Shrout. 22. U.S. Marine throwing a grenade during the Battle of Tarawa, November, 1943. 23. A Dusty Grumman TBM Avenger aircraft undergoing maintenance, 1944-45. 24. Normandy, France, June 1944. Pilots and ground crew of the 362nd Fighter Group USAAF grab some chow. 25. 2 Marine F4U-1A Corsairs No. 56, Sunsetter, and No. 51, Get-'em Bulldog, of VMF 113 in flight over Eniwetok, Marshall Islands, July 9, 1944. 26. Sailors in a motor launch rescue a survivor from the water alongside the sunken USS West Virginia, BB-48, during or shortly after the Japanese air raid on Pearl Harbor. December 7, 1941. 27. Author James Jones as a corporal wearing his enlisted dress uniform. He would go on to write both From Here to Eternity and The Thin Red Line, loosely based on his combat experience in the Pacific. 28. Marines on alert between air raids on Dutch Harbor, Alaska, the 3rd or the 4th of June 1942. Smoke from burning fuel tanks in background had been set afire by a dive bomber. The radio station and the fuel storage tanks were targeted over a 2-day period and were intended by Japan to divert the U.S. away from Midway. 29. German General Max von Ettelsheim is escorted by American Army officers in his command VW Schwimmwagen across the River Elbe during the negotiations of the surrender of XXXX-VIII Panzerkorps to the U.S. Army. May 4, 1945. 30. Japanese escort vessel being bombed by a US B-25, circa 1944-45. 31. American soldier from the 29th Infantry Division armed with a bazooka runs past a knocked-out German SPG, Hetzer. Aldenhoven, Germany, 1944. 32. M4 Sherman tank fitted with a bulldozer blade supporting U.S. Marine infantry on Iwo Jima, the 9th of March 1945. 33. Major General Frank Parks, General George Patton, Colonel W. H. Kyle, J. McCloy, H. Bundy, and U.S. Secretary of War Henry Stimson, reviewing U.S. 2nd Armored Division, Berlin, Germany, the 20th of July 1945. 34. Double-bottom assembly crew at Kaiser, Richmond Shipyard No. 4, Richmond, California, grew from a population of under 24,000 to over 100,000. Workers from around the nation gathered at the shipyards to meet war demand for Liberty cargo ships. 35. Men of the U.S. 347th Infantry Regiment taking a meal break while en route to La Roche, Belgium, the 13th of January 1945. 36. An F-6F Hellcat of Fighting Squadron 16, VF-16, is about to take off from the aircraft carrier USS Lexington, CV-16, for a raid on Formosa, October 12, 1944. 37. Marine Corporal Earl Brunett, left, and Private Jennair Nuzzi share a foxhole and a couple of ponchos on Okinawa with a war orphan. April 1945. 38. Lieutenant Col. Richard Ross, commander of 3rd Battalion, 1st Marines braves sniper fire to place the United States colors over the parapets of Shuri Castle on 30 May 1945. This flag was also raised over Cape Gloucester and then Peleliu. 39. American servicemen on Okinawa celebrate the announcement that Japan has surrendered. August, 1945. 40. U.S. Marines examine a Japanese suicide MXY-7 Oka, Cherry Blossom, on Okinawa in 1945. The Allies called these kamikaze rockets, Baka, which is Japanese for fool. 41. Admiral William F. Halsey and Vice Admiral John S. McCain Sr., just after the conclusion of the formal surrender of Japan on the USS Missouri, September 2, 1945. 4 days later, McCain would suffer a heart attack and die at his home in California. 42. A breeches buoy is put into service to transfer survivors of a sunken ship from a U.S. destroyer to a cruiser. November 14, 1942. 43. General Douglas MacArthur meets with 5 Native Americans from different tribes consisting of 2 Navajos, 1 Pima, 1 Pawnee and a Chitimacha. December 31, 1943. 44. A girl tends a victory garden at a school on First Avenue. NYC, C.1944. Victory gardens were planted at private residences and public parks to encourage people to supplement their rations, to boost morale by making people contribute to the war effort, and to reduce pressure on the public food supply. 45. General Carl A. Toohey Spatz awards the Distinguished Service Cross to Major Charles Kagelman, who led the first U.S. Army Air Force's bombing strike against Nazi-occupied Europe on July 4, 1942. Kagelman was killed in 1945 during the Philippine Campaign. 46. U.S. Marine gunners firing a 75 mm Pack Howitzer M1 at Japanese positions on Cape Gloucester, New Britain. 1944. 47. U.S. troops crossing the River Rhine in March 1945. 48. General Douglas MacArthur, Vice Admiral Thomas Kincaid, and T. Sergeant Daniel Rocklin examined dome damaged by naval bombardment preceding the invasion of the Los Negros Island, Admiralty Group. February 29, 1944. 49. Carrying full equipment, American assault troops move onto a beachhead on the northern coast of France. Landing craft, in the background, jams the harbor. Omaha Beach. June 6, 1944. 50. M3 tank and crew using small arms, featuring Knox, Key. June, 1942. 51. Training at Fort Knox. Note the M1917 helmet and M3 half-track. June 1942. 52. Attack by a USAAF P-47 Thunderbolt on a German munitions convoy. August-September 1944. 53. U.S. serviceman Golden sharing his Christmas package with Italian children. December 11, 1944. 54. 129th Regiment troops near Eritao, the Philippines, June 5, 1945. 55. The crew of a B-26B Marauder outside of their plane nicknamed Ginger, of the 449th Bomb Squadron. 56. Female riveter at Lockheed Aircraft Corporation, Burbank, California, United States, 1940s. 57. A United Service Organizations troop pose with a nearly completed airframe of the Messerschmitt P.1101 at Oberbayerische Forschungsanstalt, Oberammergau, Germany, circa spring-summer 1945. 58. USS California, BB-44, in Puget Sound on January 18, 1944, wearing Measure 32 Design 16D. 59. Soviet As-2 tank surrounded by American Lend-Lease trucks and Sherman tanks in Berlin in May 1945. 60. M4 Sherman Crocodile flame tank of the 709th Tank Battalion in action. Zweifel, Germany 1944. 61. U.S. 7th Army troops checking a house for snipers, Western Germany, the 16th of December 1944. In late November 1944, 7th Army was the first Allied army to reach the German Rhine. Preparations were well underway to cross the Rhine north of Strasbourg in the first week of Dec. When Eisenhower stopped the operation, it would be mid-March 1945 before another American army could reach and cross the Rhine into Germany. United States.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a comment, like and subscribe. Support the channel so I can bring you more content. Thank you again.